Only guy that will be DMP is Byron Young with his knee. We're just going to be smart with him, and but he'll be chomping at the bit, ready to go. Q Lake's back, feeling good, and so here we go.
Is it the same? Has Byron been dealing with the same knee, same injury all season?
He has, yeah, and he does a great job being able to manage it. As the toll of the season has gone on, Sarah, it's more of just kind of maintenance, and with the limited amount of physical reps, it's kind of that you're just kind of managing. All right, is it allowing him to be at his best on Sunday? And that's what we're really doing. He's taking mental reps, doing a good job, but that is the same knee. Yes.
Sean, here's something for you. Just you being out of routine, talking today. Do you talk with your players about how these next couple weeks or this week could be a little out of routine, extra things like this?
Not really. Obviously, if you're fortunate enough to get to the next step, that's a little bit different. But we try to keep it same as and. So not anything different this week, other than you guys talking to me today too.
Your third NFC Championship game, is there any wisdom to be learned for this week leading up to it?
There's certain. I don't know that I would ever say wisdom, but I think you want to be consistent in your approach. We certainly understand the stakes. We know that we have to be at our best in order to be able to advance. But I do think that consistency is the truest measure of performance. I want our guys to consistently go about their business like they would any other game, and so don't really change anything in that regards. But we want to be detailed. We want to have great urgency, great enjoyment for our preparation, and be totally and completely present. So. I think our guys understand, the magnitude and what a blessing it is to earn the opportunity to be in games like this. But what I don't want our guys to do is feel like they have to do anything other than be their best selves. And we don't need to make things up. So we do want to be consistent in our weekly rhythm that these guys are accustomed to.
And just a quick follow-up, 12th man, it was loud in Carolina, it was loud in Chicago. Is it different? I know they have one crazy fan when you come out, but is it?
He's always got good signs. He'll be burying me with something. But, no, you know what? I thought that Thursday atmosphere, we've been fortunate enough to play a lot of great games at Seattle. I think it's a great venue, obviously. They have great fans. That atmosphere and environment was electric on that Thursday night game. And, certainly the other two ones that you talked about with Carolina and Chicago, those were special. We know what kind of environment to expect. We've got to be able to handle it. And it's awesome to be in these types of games, so we're excited.
As your coaching has gone on, have you found yourself allowing yourself to maybe delegate more, give up a little bit of the control to others?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think, I have such trust in our coaching staff. And then I think you understand, your job is to be able to, kind of move wherever you're needed and support, give people autonomy, and then be able to inject or, collaborate when it's necessary. So feel really fortunate to have such a great, coaching staff as a whole. But these guys in these leadership positions, absolutely, I think, done a better job of delegating. And as you accumulate experience, I think, the most important thing is empowering others, but being there to be able to help assist or solve problems if necessary. And so the answer is yes.
How would you took the job to now? Has your, idea of what being a head coach is or the jobs you do change at all?
Yeah, but I think it's all predicated on, it's year to year. It's kind of whatever is needed. When you look at it, and I think back to like our first year, it was like, all right, where can I be of the most help? It's a trust and way to understand what's going on the defense so you can communicate and be there if needed. But and the same thing with John Fossil on special teams, but let's immerse yourself in the offense. Let's set a foundation. Let's build that up, especially, knowing that you were going to kind of be immersed in the play calling element of it. But it has evolved, and it's like anything else, experience and repetition is the mother of learning. But what we try to do is surround yourself with people that you can learn from, you can grow with, and ultimately delegate and let the light shine on them, and then kind of just be able to be wherever you're needed.
How do you feel like you're with Mike McDonald as a divisional opponent? What have you learned about him as a coach from the between-game chess matches?
Well, I got a ton of respect. I mean, he's excellent tactically. You can see there's a consistency in his approach. It's not by mistake. I remember, when we went when he was running the defense in Baltimore, you could appreciate how everything was tied together on all three levels. There was a coordinated four-man rush. There was an understanding of how to attack protections, whether it be with pressure, simulated fire zones. Their coverages were sound, and they could morph based on the concept. And then you see what he's done here, and they were excellent last year, but, man, they've taken it to a whole nother level. And I've got a lot of respect for him. Like I've told you guys before, when you talk about like offensive play callers and you can watch the film and see an ownership and an understanding from an all-22 perspective and intent behind what they're trying to get done, that's how I feel about him. They're excellent. Ad and Dirt as their coordinator, but they do a great job of accentuating their personnel, being able to adjust and adapt. And then I think he's got a great feel for the flow of a game as a play caller too. He's one of the best for sure, and he's earned all the credit that he's getting.
When people say that he's the Sean McVay of defense, I mean, how do you?
Yeah, I don't. I'm certainly humbled unless they say that means he's a dumbass. But no, I mean, it's humbling and flattering, but I've been around a lot of great people, and everything that we do is always a collaboration. I just know this, I can't make any comparison. I know he's a great coach that is consistent. Everything I've heard in my interactions with him, he's a great dude. You can see those players love playing for him. People like coaching for him, and obviously, you just watch the way that they're a connected team and the way that things have progressed over the last couple of years. He's doing a hell of a job.
Cobie Durant, Davante, that Thursday night game in Seattle. Looks like he's been kind of slowly knocking off some of the rust after missing so much time. What kind of impact can he have on this game now that you have him healthy, fresh, and ready to go?
Tremendous. He's a great player, and I think what says as much, the game the other day was unique. It was good to be able to get his feet wet, made some key and critical plays against Carolina. But then you look at last week, it's like, all right, hey, competitive greatness, be at your best when your best is required. You look at the leverage that he had, from Nashawn Wright on that 12-yard catch that he made. It was unbelievable. Not a great play call, but he and Matthew just made it right, where he's able to win the leverage, flatten that angle out, have the awareness on the sideline. The in cut that he caught was a huge play, and so he's a tremendous impact. It's great to be able to have him back, and everybody feels and notices when he's on the grass, and he's just got this swag that I think elevates the energy of our overall group and team, and so really excited to have him back.
And as a follow-up, what have you noticed from Davante's and Puka's relationship, whether on-field or off-field, or an anecdote you could share that you've seen?
Well, I just think there's a tremendous amount of respect. You could really see how much Puka reveres Davante and how willing he is to share, and how much love Davante has for him. It's a special relationship. I love watching those guys flex. Their celebrations, if you haven't seen it, are they're swaggy, they're awesome. So, but it's a really cool relationship that you're watching just kind of organically develop with two guys that they love football. They have a lot of respect and love for one another, and I think they've made each other better. But Davante's willingness to pour in and be a mentor, and Puka's willingness to want to learn and that curiosity, it's really cool to see.
Cobie Durant has 4 interceptions in 5 playoff games. What qualities does he have that allows him to come through in the big time moments?
Great ball skills, good concept trigger. I think one of the coolest things is those guys in the DB room, they do such a great job. Even when I was talking to Kam Curl, he gave Aubrey Pleasant a bunch of credit for the pick that he made based on some of their prep and the things. And Cobie has done an outstanding job. He's just one of the land sharks, shows up when you need him the most. I just love his overall play energy, and he certainly has ignited us. He made a couple plays. The first one the other day that he had, I'm like, just drop it unless you're going to take it past where the 4th down marker was. But he's a stud. I'm really happy for him, man. He's doing awesome.
Sean, you've talked a lot about overtime, the above the neck stuff. When you bring in guest speakers, even like the medalist, what do you hope the players gain from that?
Well, in that case, he was awesome. That was more of an entertainment deal, kind of a good reprieve during camp. I think what you want to look for when you bring people in, I think the best guys to be able to bring in are usually former players that have a feel for our culture, our standards. You want to see alignment. I think that's such a key and critical factor, is alignment of messaging, alignment of values, and it's where the Aaron Donalds, the Andrew Whitworths, Eric Weddle visited us during camp and spoke to the guys. And so those special players, those are the guys that usually, we don't have many people come around. Oz was awesome when he came, and it was that was a special deal, and the guys really enjoyed that. But as far as the other things that you're talking about, usually love to be able to have those former players that the guys have such respect for, and they have the wisdom and the alignment with us.
Will Quentin Lake be a full participant today?
He will, yep.
You've known Chris Shula a long time, obviously, but how have you seen him grow since he's become a defensive coordinator?
I think the biggest thing that I learned last year is it wasn't easy at first. And when you're in some of those leadership roles, it can be really lonely, especially when you're working through some different things, trying to figure out what's that identity. And he's so consistent. You guys talk to him. He's always the same, and he's got this great humility about himself, but he's also got great security and internal fortitude and belief. And I think when you look back to last year, some of the tough times that we went through, especially early on, and then just working to be able to figure out, all right, what is the identity? How does he really put his spin on what our defense has become over the last couple of years? I think he grew a tremendous amount. And you could see guys love playing for him. He does a great job collaborating with our coaching staff. And I think that's a great trait of any leader is the ability to collaborate, the ability to shine light on others. And he's done a great job. And then he's really just continued to take it to the next level, and thought he did an awesome job having a great feel for the flow of the game the other day, he and the coaches, because he does a good job of, it's always that ongoing dialogue on the headset with the rest of the defensive coaches, no different than we do it offensively. And he's a stud, and obviously I love him a lot, and I'm really happy for the success, but I'm not surprised at all either.
Yeah, how would you kind of describe the evolution of your defense this season, what you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's been great. You add in some different coaches that have some different perspective, and it's all about, our personnel. How do we maximize that? How do we take advantage of some of the new pieces or build on, some of the guys last year that were rookies or second-year players? And so I think it's always evolving. You always have to adapt. You have to adjust. When you do things at a high clip, people are going to study you. And then I think there's got to be some fluidity because defensively, it's reactionary driven in a lot of instances unless you earn the right to dictate the terms on some of those known passing situations where you can play your percentages. But I've been really pleased, and that evolution in all phases, not exclusive to defense, is always ongoing.
I think Tyler Higbee's going to end up being the only guy who played for you in all three NFC Championship games, even though he got hurt in the one 4 years ago. What's it meant to you to have him, Rob Havenstein, a couple of your assistant coaches who have been with you on this entire journey, and what kind of bond do you guys have?
It's a special bond. And especially those two players that you talk about with Rob and Tyler. These are rare humans, and they're great football players, but they're great leaders, and they have such respect from the locker room because of the consistency at which they approach every single day, the genuine enjoyment they have for other success. We were watching it earlier today. Ferg makes a great play up there on a third down, and the first guy to come, running down the sideline and have a swaggy celebration is Tyler Higbee. You look at, the wisdom that Rob has in the meeting room to be able to pour into Warren and really our offensive line as a whole. And so these are two all-time guys. These are legacy Rams. They're obviously very special to me because over time you develop really meaningful relationships, and I love those guys. And then, oftentimes you're referencing, hey, remember in 2018 or 17? And, I'm often saying that, and they're about the only two that know what the hell I'm talking about. And so, or Yarbs or Zach Cromer or Chris Shula. Everybody else has kind of been back and forth, but it's a real blessing to be on this journey with these guys.
Sean for a long time. He was just talking about how as he's gone on in his head coaching career, he's learned to delegate a little bit more and give up a little bit of control. How have you seen him handle that, and how do you think it's benefited?
Yeah, he's definitely more present throughout the week, more available throughout the week for all of us to kind of bounce stuff off. It's great for me because obviously as a defensive guy with him being the offensive play caller, us being he always has a good feel for the offenses we're playing, and obviously he knows our defense just as good as anybody. So we're always kind of talking through different situations, different things we want to do. So it's an awesome benefit for me that he's available like that.
As you interview for head coaching jobs, how do you take what you were just talking about and apply it to how you maybe want to run a team with it?
Yeah, that's what I believe in. You hire great people, and you give them space to do their job, and you try to provide help and wherever you can, and always working with people, but also, that's why you hire the people, so they can go do their job, and that's what you need to do. As a head coach, you're not going to be able to do everything, so obviously delegating's got to be a big skill of that.
Your defense having a lot of success against the Seahawks in the first two matchups, how much do you balance, taking that game plan, but also needing to evolve it?
That's always the case. Anytime you play somebody the second or third time, I don't think, either of us are going to be tricking each other. I think it's, you got to go out. This is a player's game. Players got to go out and execute and play hard, and, hopefully we go out and play good football.
Anything specifically you learned from the first two meetings that maybe surprised you a little bit with this team and how they attack you?
I don't know. We thought they were a really good offense, going into that first game, and and that's what we got. They're really balanced. They're tough. They have really good tempo, They can run it. Sam's obviously playing at a high level. They have an elite receiver in the NFL. Obviously, a great running game. So it's just a tough physical matchup, and we got to be on our A game.
Whether it's against Minnesota, when he was with Minnesota last year, Sam Darnold, or this year against Seattle, you guys have rattled and made him uncomfortable where he can make mistakes, throw some interceptions. Why do you think you've had success in these 4 matchups, and how can you have success against them?
Just guys have come out and executed. I think last year's a completely different story. And then this year every game's its own entity. So, it's guys going out there executing. It's playing 11 as one. I think the pass rush has been pretty good for the most part, and the DB's going out and making plays, and that's really all it is.
Is that the key then, the pass rush, in order to put him in those situations where he might throw a ball he wouldn't normally do?
I think any DB coach, anybody would tell you that, or any quarterback would tell you that. I think pass rush is a huge thing, obviously, when it comes to affecting the quarterback.
What have you thought about the way Kenneth Walker's been running the ball lately?
He's a stud. He's a home run waiting to happen at any point. He's a physical downhill runner. He can bounce at really any gap. He's a really, really tough player, and obviously he's going to be carrying most of the workload with Charbonnet out, so we're going to have our hands full.
Chris, now that you're 30-some games into being a defensive coordinator, what's something you learned about that role that you had to get into to understand, or a way that you kind of look at that differently than when you first started?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you're always evolving your process to whatever you think is the best way to get ready for a game. And, that might change week to week, or might, expand or grow week to week, or, some weeks it kind of might stay consistently. And I think that's kind of what I've tried to do. I've tried to emulate some of the guys I worked under's process, and then just kind of mold it into my own. And, I think every week I kind of learn something new and kind of add to it. And, you're being more efficient of how to study the offense, how to attack the opposing offense, and how to put your guys in the best positions.
Chris, your first NFC Championship, you guys are on the road in New Orleans. Your second NFC Championship against a division matchup. Now it's the combination on the road and the division matchup. Is there anything wisdom-wise as a coach to tap into in NFC Championship experience that you can apply to Sunday?
I mean, we're doing our routine like it's a game 3:30 on Sunday. We know what's at stake, but we're really excited to go out there and play hard versus a really tough opponent on the road.
Roger McCreary played his most snaps since he's come to this team on Sunday. What did you think about his day?
He competed. He completed. He played tough. You could tell he's played a lot of football. He's obviously getting him in, kind of later in the season. He's done an excellent job learning the defense. I thought he communicated really good. I thought he played hard. He showed up when he had to tackle, and I thought he competed really hard in the pass game. So it was really awesome to see.
Your secondary in general seemed to have a pretty good game in Chicago. Looked really sharp. I think a couple of the guys had said that they were motivated by perceived disrespect or media, online, social media, that kind of thing. What can that do for a player when they're united by this perception and can work towards a common goal like they seemed to do last year?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to ask them. I'm not on any of that stuff, so I don't really know. I don't really see any of it. But that's a really tight group, is what I will say. It's a really tight group. They communicate really well. They're really close on the field, really close off the field. It's really fun. It's been really fun the last couple of years to kind of see their growth as a group and see how close they come. And really anybody new that comes in, how they kind of put their arms around them and learn and grow together. And it's a close group that loves football and loves playing together, and you can see that on the film.
Chris, we know that Kam Curl does a lot for this defense, but what was it like for you to see him come through in that moment, the interception in overtime, and what is it about him that makes him ready for play?
Yeah, he's been a rock since the day he got here, and especially this season. He's always been one of our best tacklers. He really stepped up his communication, especially when Q Lake went out, and he played an awesome game the other night. He was all over the field. I think he felt it, and obviously made the big play to close out the game. And he did it earlier in the season, so it's nothing surprising. But I was really happy for him.
What's it like for you?
Your defense had 7 turnovers in the first 2 games. How do you maintain that level of disruption on their offense without giving up the big plays?
Yeah, it's always that balance. You're always trying to play sound, but you're trying to play attacking and get them off schedule. And obviously, that's exactly what we're going to try to do. It's going to be all 11 trying to do their job at the best of their ability, and trying to do the best we can to stop the run and not give up explosives. And hopefully the turnovers come.
What's it like for you when you have a game where you play as well as you did defensively? It comes down to the last play of the game, and Caleb Williams throws a circus touchdown pass to tie it. How do you process that in the moment, and how do you stay focused? Is that learned over a career? How did you handle that?
You just got to reset. You got to reset and just play the next play, and that's the only thing you can do. What's the next right thing? And that's all we were trying to do. Sean did a great job kind of pulling everybody up on the team and kind of getting everybody's mindset right. And we're basically starting a new game when it goes to OT. And, that's what it was. There was nothing else he could do. The play happened. He made an unbelievable play. And, we moved on to the next one.
Like, this is your second year with Mike McDonald as a divisional opponent. Like, what have you learned about him as a coach from going through those between-game chess matches the last 2 years?
Yeah, he's the best. He's always evolving, and that's where you have a lot of respect for him. His players play really hard. They have really good players, but, they're always going to throw different wrinkles at you. And even if they've had some success with things in the run game, pass game situationally, he knows that, he has to make adjustments too. Otherwise, we'll catch up to him, So it's really impressive. I've always been impressed with him, dating back to when I was with the Jets, playing him in Baltimore, dating back to 23, playing him over in Baltimore, and then what he's able to do this year with these guys, it's incredible.
Sean has talked about how his ability to delegate has gotten better as he's done this head coaching thing longer. How have you seen him kind of allow himself to lose a little bit of control over every aspect and maybe hand off some to you?
I mean, I can't speak for before I was here. I've always, since I've been here, it's just word of mouth from him. How it's been. He knows a lot and he can do a lot, and he's got energy to go 25 hours a day. So you understand why he has been the way he is, and he's had a lot of success with it. His urgency is unmatched. His work ethic is unmatched. So it's kind of one of those things. If I don't think someone's going to do it better for me, then I'm going to do it myself, type deal. But at the same time, he's in charge of a lot of guys here. In this building. Again, since I've been here, it hasn't been a problem. He's delegated what he wants to delegate. He's taken over what he wants to take over, and he's the boss. You go with that.
Do you feel the trust though from him to him as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I've always felt. I mean, again, I've known Sean for a long time, So, yeah, absolutely. He trusts these players. He trusts these coaches. There's a reason he hires them. I mean, you go. Just even piggybacking off of that, the hiring process for new coaches, it's not like you just hire someone after a 10-minute interview. I mean, he puts a lot of work into that stuff. So everything he does is full throttle.
Mike, can you describe how it's the third time you guys have played against each other, the prep work of trying to adjust to what's happened in the last couple of games, and how you might go about adjusting to everything?
Yeah, you got a lot of inventory, right? And they got a lot of inventory on us. So they've had success on us in a number of different phases, run game, pass game, attacking our protections, situationally. So, again, we got to be ready for all that. And then what's their next iteration of it? And we don't know. We'll figure that out. They're going to have something for us, and it's kind of that fine, delicate balance of, hey, this is what we do well, but at the same time, giving them some curveballs as well.
Any specifics you can tell us at all without giving out the game plan that you're working on?
That would be very specific. So, sorry. No, I mean it's all those phases. It's every week, but anytime you're playing a divisional opponent, particularly for the third time, particularly for I can't remember exactly the date of the first one, but we obviously played them the second time right before Christmas. We're not even into February yet, so we know these guys well. They know us well. Our players know each other well, and it's gonna be a good one.
Sean was pretty critical of himself, with just how he called the game on Sunday and just the feel he had for it, and how the offense performed. What was kind of your takeaway as you look back at just how that game went and some of the situations?
Yeah, I mean, credit to them too, right? I mean, they had a good plan. Those guys were playing hard. They got good players. I mean, it's a divisional game for a reason, right? That environment was awesome for anyone that was there. I mean, that's what you expect, and that's what these moments are for those players. So, again, credit to them on that. There was a lot of things that we look back at, on Monday as coaches. Did we put them in good positions, from a preparation standpoint, from a game planning standpoint? And the answer, to piggyback off him is absolutely not. There was a lot of things that it was like, man, that's not us, So at the same time, what I would say to him, like he says to the players, give yourself some grace there too. Good learning experience. Thank God we got out of that one, because it took every minute, as we know, every second, here we are on Sunday.
Are you guys always in concert, on the headset, or is there room, if you wanted to say, hey, stop, we need to change direction and do something different?
Absolutely. No, I'm just kidding.
You can't. That's not something that
No,
would ever happen.
there's always constant communication. You know, he's down there as a head coach calling plays. There's a lot of things going on, right? He's on the headset with Shula. He's on that headset with our special teams, you know, and we're up nice and cozy up in the booth, a few of us there. So there's always communication. That's everywhere I've been. That's with Kyle. That's when I was a, you know, play caller in New York. You're always talking, hey, what's the quarterback saying? What's he thinking? You know, so he's awesome about that. You know, ultimately he's the one that's pushing it right there. But like he would always say, and like any good play caller would say, I mean, it takes everyone, you know. So great communication as always.
When you interviewed with Sean, what was it about the situation or that he sold you on coming here that made you want to come here?
Well, I mean, there was no selling to be had. I mean, this is a great organization, you know, and I can just speak for me personally. I know I just want to be a part of a great organization, working with great people. And what I've seen in my short time in this league is when you're working with great people and you're surrounded by great people, usually good things happen. We don't overly talk about winning football games here, or winning Super Bowls, or getting to conference championships. We just talk about, hey, put your best foot forward every single day and see how good we can get. And that's the stuff that I like to be a part of. It's like too far in front of me to even think about Sunday right now. I can't wait for this practice to see these guys go out and, you know, get a mixture of first, second, and third down and just see if we can have the best Thursday we can have. And that's just how he's been. So, I mean, again, I've known Sean for a long time. Obviously, my brother and him have, you know, well documented. They've been pretty tight for a lot of years. But, you know, again, no selling this organization. It's where you'd want to be.
Obviously, the NFL doesn't schedule in the regular season a team to play 3 straight road games. You've had 2 very emotional wins. From a coaching standpoint, is there a balance that you have to create? Some players love it, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, we can go out in that parking lot and play right now if we want, you know. I mean, that's just the way our guys feel, you know. So it's going to be a sweet environment, like these playoff environments, whether you're home, away, or again in that parking lot. I mean, you're just ready to strap it up and go play. So yeah, again, you'd have to ask, I guess, the players, but I know us as coaches and the way I feel. Let's get on the plane. Let's go play.
You didn't have Davante in that Thursday night game up in Seattle. Having him and Puka on the field at the same time, we saw the power of that in that final drive in Chicago in overtime where they both made catches to get you guys in the goal range. Davante's amazing on the side on that 12-yard out. What does having him, for you at least, in this game on Sunday mean, and how can it also affect Puka, who went off in that first night?
Yeah, no, Puka did, and you know we have confidence in anyone that steps foot out there. With that being said, you got a guy that I know you guys will fact check me on this. I think this is his 5th NFC Championship, right? Maybe his 6th. I've been fortunate enough to go against him twice and seeing him up close and personal in those. And you know, this moment is not too big for Davante Adams. He's been there. He's done that. He's been that guy. He is that guy. Excited that finally he's on our side, even though I like to mess with him. That I do have the 2-0 edge on him right now, but that is what it is. But no, it's great to have him back. Just his energy and you know, being across from Puka right there. You know, commented on the 12-yard reception on that last drive. How about the basic he caught? You know, going over the middle there when he got popped. What a huge play that was that led, you know, obviously us scoring a touchdown there. So big players come up in big time games, and this moment won't be too big for him. That's for sure.
What is it like to interview with Sean McVay?
Interview with Sean? How much time do we have here? You're not gonna cut me off here? No, I mean it's a conversation. You know, you're talking ball. You're asking questions. It can go a lot of different ways. I think you guys see the energy that he presents right here in that podium, you know, every time he's up here. It's really no different when he gets, you know, a marker in his hand on that grease board and we're watching some tape. So as you can imagine, make sure your coffee's hot because you're going to need a lot of it because it could go all day. But that's just in every facet of, that's not just the interview. That's just us in there talking ball, game plan, and all that kind of stuff. He wants to cross his T's, dot his I's. A lot of respect for the way he goes about his business. As you can imagine, make sure your coffee's hot because you're going to need a lot of it because it can go all day. But that's just in every facet. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, you know, you got a collective group of guys that, you know, are bought into being where your feet are, you know, and our feet are right here, right now. And, you know, again, I'm sure these guys are excited for Sunday, but I don't feel an overexcitement right now. Their juices will be pumping, but at the same time, hey, when the emotion fades, the execution takes over, and it's gonna be a riled up environment. Those fans are awesome. I love playing over there, but again, our guys, they're focused on the meetings that we just went through, taking that meeting and walk through, to the grass here for the 24 plays that we have, and then getting in the film room, correcting it, and then having red zone tomorrow. So excited to get going with them. Those fans are awesome. I love playing over there. But again, our guys, they're focused on the meetings that we just went through, taking that meeting and walking. Yeah, I mean, I think we've just gone through more and more experiences. As you get later in the year and it gets every game starts to get with the seeding and stuff like that, like we haven't been perfect by any means over these last 4 weeks. There's a lot of things that we can improve on, starting out with us as coaches within, again, the clarity that we're providing these guys. So I don't know where, exactly, and I don't want to get too far in the detail of where we've gotten worse, where we've gotten better, anything like that. I like where our guys are at right now. I like where their headspace is at. I like where they're at mentally. We're for the most part, really healthy. Number 9 feels good. He's ready to go attack this thing, and like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but they're focused on today.
Jared, after Caleb's heroic play, there's a great video of Sean saying, "We're going to win this game. We're going to win this game." Can you speak to not just that moment, but what he brings from a mental, emotional standpoint to help an elite athlete move forward?
Yeah, I mean, that's a play that's like detrimental to your health. I mean, that's one of those plays that's like, honestly, that's one of those plays that's like, how do you even do that? Off his back foot, 40, 50 yards, whatever the hell it was. That's a dog play. I got to give credit what credit's due. But Sean to be able to just kind of gather us all together and say, this game's ours. Like, he made that play. We got to play a whole nother quarter. Go win it. That's something that not a lot of coaches are like that. A lot of them are going to tell you what you got to do better. That's we good from that.
There are some coaches that will give that message about next play, forget about the pass. What is it about Sean, though, that I guess lets that message resonate a little better, knowing the moment just to know it's real, not fun?
Yeah, I mean, how much he gives every day. A lot of coaches don't give the same amount of effort every day. Whether it's raining, shining, terrible weather outside, great weather, car crash, no car crash, whether he makes it here, good, bad mood, whatever, he's always the same place. And when somebody's like that and they tell you you're going to do it, you're going to go win, you truly believe that. Like, I had no doubt we were going to win.
I don't know that I've ever seen you maybe as out of breath after a practice as you are right now. What has been the mindset of what a practice been like?
Man, it's the NFC Championship. Like, you got to really get out there. But I just did a little extra cardio and everything like that. But, like, the energy's just different this week. Like, obviously, you always want to get out there. You want to win every game. But this is the big one.
How would you say the energy is different?
People, like, I think everyone's doing the same approach. Everything's a lot more mindful, though. Every step you make is a lot more mindful. If you make a mistake on the field, people that beforehand weren't calling it out or calling it out saying, hey, let me get that play again. Let me get that one more time. Let me get this rep again. And seeing that just makes me want to get to another level.
You guys have had good.
I mean, Sam's an amazing quarterback. Dog, I mean, you see what he's done against amazing defenses and stuff like that. I think it's just our approach. The way our D-lines are built, our backers, our safeties, our corners, the way they get after the ball. We just got ball hawks back there. Like, they just know where the ball's going to be, and they're able to get to it.
How have you seen Sam Darnold grow from the first time that you guys played him last year to the most recent matchup?
I think he's a lot more confident, just in his throwing ability and his ability to actually run the ball, get after it, everything like that. But I think he just knows where his keys are, where his good reads are, where his check down is, everything like that. He's a great quarterback.
In a game like this, do you focus more on the personal matchup or the overall scheme?
The overall scheme, but I focus on what I have to do. I can only do 1 of 11. So my main focus is what I got to do with my one play, but you want to know the scheme. You want to know the plays, because if you do, you can make a play.
Considering what's on the line, do you think about the way you attack Darnold and their offense maybe in a different way and try not to get too ahead of yourself, like get caught up in the moment?
I don't think we attack them any differently than we attack anybody else. That's just us. The way we do things is just how we are. So we're not going to change anything up. Obviously, they got plays that we might add this play in to attack this play or that, but overall, all in all, we're just who we are.
Obviously, you guys have had success against some others last year, 5 interceptions, I think. Was that this year? You had that scoop and score in the playoff last year. That's a lot. Coach Shula was saying on you guys up front, putting pressure on him. even guys off some cornerbacks and blitz, in that play where you scored. How do you guys replicate that success on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback, their job's to throw the ball. So we're going to look at where they have to throw the ball. If us on the edge or, the D-line or the D tackles up front can get through there and get a good hit on them, make him feel that no matter what it is, whether he gets the ball off, whether it's just a QB hit, whether you get a sack, he knows that we're coming. He knows that he's going to feel us, and that makes any quarterback cautious, no matter who you are.
As much as you want to go, this is one game at a time, this is one huge game at a time, do you get thinking about that at all? Like, okay, let's enjoy this moment because we don't get it very often.
Yeah, no, actually a good friend of mine told me, like, I always tell everybody I'm always focused on this game, the next, whatever. He told me just focus on this is your last game. This could be the last game of the season. Whether it's a regular season game or not, it could be your last game ever, however things go in your life. So you just got to focus on this is the last game. And you win that, you get the opportunity to play at the big one. But that's just my focus personally, and I've echoed that to my room.
Jared, in the history of the NFL playoffs, only 5 teams have won 3 straight road games. Fisk was saying he likes being the man in the arena, so to speak. Do you like that? What's the challenge, especially going into Seattle with a 12-man environment?
I mean, obviously, I think the way our defense is set up, the way our team's set up, we're all kind of underdogs. We're all used to being the first one to do this, first one in our school to make it out of this, first one in school to make it to the NFL, first in the family to do this, first in the family to do that. So just to be at another list added onto that, that'd be an amazing feeling, but I'm not too focused on who's done it before us. I'm focused on how we're going to do it.
Coach McVay talked about the team staying present during the game. How do you stay present during the game?
I don't know how to answer that question. I think I just show it. Obviously, I'm with my teammates and everything like that. I don't try to focus too much on outside forces or anything like that. I mean, everybody's got everything going on in their life. Other things outside of here, personal things, family things. But when we're on the football field, you got to shut your mind off. That's your 100%. Everything else just push it away.
Obviously, you said you'd be grateful to be here no matter what. But after what happened in that Thursday night game, 16-point lead gone, you guys as a defense and some of those 2-point conversions, did you guys want this matchup with Seattle to get to the Super Bowl? Does it feel kind of poetic to be in this situation?
Yes.
That's a good thing.
I'm not supposed to give any bulletin board material, so.
Jared, you've mentioned in the past that the team you hate the most or you don't like the most in NFC West is the Seahawks. Does that feeling intensify in a game when the Super Bowl's on?
The Super Bowl's next if we win. Yeah.
All right. So, Puka, number 1 offense against the number 1 defense. I mean, how great of a matchup is this under the circumstances with a whole ball of wax?
I think everybody who's a fan of the football of the game that we play will be super excited to see what happens on Sunday.
What about you?
You couldn't have it any other way. Like you said, number 1 versus number 1, the opportunity to go back there and just play against Seattle in the way that the playoffs work out and how it all has turned out. It's a fairy tale ending to a great season that it's already been.
You had a monster game against Seattle on that Thursday night game. You didn't have Davante Adams out there with you. Now having him back healthy, kind of no more rust, I guess, after the last few weeks. How does that help the both of you on Sunday?
I think it'll be a confidence boost for our entire team. Obviously, we've had him here these past 2 weeks, but the ability to feel like we have all of our bullets. We're confident whatever 11 step on the field, blue and yellow, that we can go out there and get the job done. But obviously to have number 17 is going to be a huge advantage for us, and then also just to have him out there, to see him in the huddle, it's a confidence boost for everybody around him.
But does that change the coverages on what you're going to see, knowing that he's on the other side, and you got to worry about him as well?
I think 100%. I mean, it's a challenge that we've presented to every defense this season, and it'll be the Seahawks problem this weekend.
Puka, how would you describe Nate Scheelhause as a coach?
I think I wouldn't say, I guess, I'm new in the NFL too, but I feel like the modern age coach, somebody who's a little bit familiar with some of the slang terms that we might use in the meeting rooms, lit, slat, some of the other things, gang, fire, things that wouldn't make sense when we're watching football. That he understands those, but then his ability to communicate what our job is on Wednesday through Sunday is something that I'd say has been a blessing in our room. His ability to understand how we operate, but then also to be on the same page as the quarterbacks, be on the same page as the groupings have changed from 13 personnel to 11, he's done a great job of every step of the way making sure everybody's on the same page.
How would you see Sean put his trust in the name?
I think it's come in different ways. The opportunity to, I know substitution, but I don't know. You never know what's said on the headset, but I know they're always talking to Coach Nate. And his ability to communicate to us in the calm demeanor and the demeanor that helps us have success on Sundays is something that you don't take for granted because you know that in the heat of the moment, just the ability to communicate is so needed, and he does a great job of keeping his cool and then being able to communicate the message clear and precise so we can go out there and execute.
We saw Rob back at practice today. It looks like he's really embraced the 3 slaps on his shoulders on the sidelines during games. But how have you kind of seen him stay himself as he's had a difficult season with all of his injuries?
Yeah, I think it's something that Coach McVay does a great job of taking advantage of the opportunities for us to be in walkthroughs and to communicate with each other. But then you also see Big Rob, who's played just as many games as Matthew, it feels like. But take those opportunities in the moments where we're not on the field and coach isn't there, the ability to see some of these defenses for a couple years in a row and the ability to understand some of the nuances that have helped him have success, and for them to give it to Warren, to Alaric, to some of the other guys out there has been it's fun. And then also just his toughness. You see, it's never easy to go through injuries, but the mental fortitude to show up every day and still be able to communicate is something that is noticed by us.
How did he become the designated teammate for the slapping the shoulder pads?
I used to be locker mates with Big Rob, so I think we've always had a connection, and we're in the same little locker bubble over there. But I think as he's gone down and his ability to stay close to the offense, and I saw him one time when he was close by, and he was giving me some of the smelling salts. So I was like, all right, Big Rob, I think you're ready to hit me now.
Back-to-back road playoff games. How does that help you going to another road playoff game?
I think it's exciting for this locker room. The journey that we've been on throughout the season and some of the away games that we've had to play early in the year, and just how it's calloused us for, I think, this moment that we're getting ready to prepare for. But it also feels the urgency and the need to trust in the guys around us. It really is just going to be us 11 out there when it's on the football field, on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. So to embrace that moment and to really buy in.
Is there anything specifically you guys have just learned from a communication standpoint that you can take into this?
I think being a social media age kid definitely helps Matthew with some of the hand signals. I know he's a creative mind himself. I'm sure he's always thinking of football, but I think some of the things we see on social media help in some of the football stuff we call for signals and just our communication between ourselves. I think we have a big part in that. Yeah.
You're obviously playing for one of the most brilliant coaches in terms of Sean McVay's mind. What have you developed as a man under his tutelage, whether it's motivation, mental, emotional, and the off the field?
Ooh, it's a great question right there. I would say his ability to communicate and his emotional regulation, I think, is something that is obviously very needed in this sport. But then the ability to have relationships with family members, I think, in my life, and some of the new relationships, and being a new dad, I think of the patience that's required and the emotional regulation to be, man, I've had a tough Thursday or a long practice week, and I dropped the ball for the last day of practice, and coach was mad at me, but now I got to get treatment. My body feels bad, but then I get to go hold my son and put him to sleep. And so the emotional regulation to be, man, it wasn't my best performance out there at practice, but there are still a lot of good things in my life, and then to be totally and completely present in those moments, to block out the bad day that's been had before, and look into my son's eyes and enjoy that moment that is right there in front of me, and just to be totally and completely present in that moment.
Because Seattle has given up no touchdowns in the last 2 games, and they did it another time this year, back-to-back games. And you guys have scored 58 points in 2 games. How does that happen? I mean, how good are you guys offensively to do that?
I think we're very confident in our group. I think the leader that we have in number 9 is his ability to lead us, and for everybody has great trust in whenever he puts that ball up, that there's going to be a way for you to come down, and I think he's going to put it for you to make a play. And we feel very confident on the other side of the ball, and that they're going to give us the opportunities to go out there and make plays, and we need to capitalize in the moments that we know are critical in the football game, and we're excited for those challenges.
The last time you guys were in Seattle, you had your biggest game in the offense, put up more than 500 yards, but you didn't have Davante. So when you think about going back there and adding Davante, and how do you feel like that sort of changes your role and maybe expands the offense you're looking at doing?
I know that it's going to be a physical game on Sunday, and that's a big part of my game. So I know that I will continue to do my part and show up in the ways that are needed for me to execute for this offense. But I know it'll be exciting faces on the sideline when we have number 17 out there, and the ability to make every blade of grass covered by this defense. Like it's been mentioned, they are a great defense, and we're excited to showcase that the great offense that we are.
You had great success in the first 2 games against Seattle, division rival you know well. How does that affect your strategy in practice, but also in the game itself?
I think there are going to be moments in this game that are going to come down to third and short and to about the physicality. And there are a few moments where you get to line up and say everybody knows where this ball is going to end up in the game of football. There are so many different possibilities in our offense. We try to keep them guessing as best as we can, but we know we're gonna have our chin strap buckle and we're going to be ready to dominate the line of scrimmage. And I think that will be a difference for us in this game.
How fitting.
Well, you've talked a lot about your relationship with Davante, the respect, and what you've learned from him from you. But is there like a story or an anecdote you can share? I guess that's something that surprised you about him, or you didn't expect off the field, maybe.
I guess yeah. I knew. You see the depth chart, and I see. I know he's 6'2". You watch the tape. We did a training camp practice against them my rookie year. I didn't get a chance to conversate with him, but then you see him. He's 6'2". I don't know what they have him listed at, but whatever, 200 plus pounds. And I like to my mentor before, Cooper Kupp, would get in there and we would throw a lot of weight around. So I like to hold the standard high. I think I'm a strong guy. And Davante Adams is a stronger guy. So I think that was a great story to learn about him and being like, man, the weight room is no joke. And so it was from one great player to another great player. The stuff that happened in there does matter.
Last one. What's one thing you learned during the regular season that you plan to apply on Sunday?
Play to that whistle blows. This is on offense and defense, special teams until that whistle blows, and we're gonna teeter that line as close as we can. But we're gonna make sure that whatever way that ball ends up in our hands or in the referee's hands after we're getting ready to kick that field goal.